Sorry, I found the scripture in James. Okay. Blessed is the man who does endure trial. So it's in James chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man who does endure trial. For when he has been proved, he shall receive the crown of life which the Master has promised to those who love him. So you see, this crown that we are to receive is going to be from the things that we have to go through, from the hardships that we have to go through, from the dying to the flesh that we have to go through the endurance that we're going to have to go through the the Father will allow us to go through trials if the levels that we have to go through, the levels of endurance. It's Him putting us through this process that we've got to go through. We don't just arrive. You see, this is the lies of the things that the Father has given us, the lies that He's put upon us. That's why we've got to go through that purification process. That's why we've got to go through that oil of myrrh. She didn't just come into the palace and then immediately go and please the king. She didn't just come into the palace and immediately go and be able to be put through to be put before him. She didn't get given her thing. No, she had a whole year's preparation. She had a whole year's process. And this is for us to see that the Father is taking us through a preparation process. And it depends on how you respond, whether you're going to make it or not. It depends on how you respond, for how long you're going to be in your process or not. The sooner you surrender, the sooner you submit, the sooner you allow Him to take you through. It was like, on Shabbat, I was still crying, so many crocodile tears, and I was really crying out to Him. And I'd been doing this now for like 2 weeks already, and I've been standing before Him and saying, Abba, but you know what, this is not fair. It's not fair. And this is what I was crying out and saying, Father, why must I go through this? I don't understand. Why must I be separated from my family at this time? And instead of me looking at what I didn't have, Father needed to change my perspective and let me look at what I do have. And let me look at what is the purpose and the plan and the reason why I'm here. And what a blessing it is in the end. The fact that I was not having to be going through all this stuff of this Christmas and this celebrations and all these things being upon me. I didn't have that. And imagine me being able to wake up and I've got the embrace of Abba, my Father, who is with me. Even though we're in a difficult time because I don't even have time to just only spend with Him. We are being grilled in being able to study this Hebrew language. And we have to spend hours in just being able to study this Hebrew language. But this is something that now He's wanting to do. By His grace, today is our 3rd week going into to our Hebrew classes, and, we go for 4-hour lesson, but let me tell you, by His grace, we can read and we can write. And because every day you've got to take so much time aside to be able to do this, because this is part of the preparation of what you're going to do. Because you're not just going to arrive, so it's not going to help you to stand over and to complain and say, Abba, I don't know the language and I can't read the language and I don't know how am I ever going to get there. And I cry about this, and He says, you know what? You're going to have to do something about it. And the only thing that I'm going to be able to have to do about it is that I'm going to have to study. And this is now part of my test and part of my trial and and I cried even about that. And I said, oh, Father, it's so difficult. And I wanted to run in another direction. And I was looking at all of this and it's so overwhelming. And, this is a language that, you got to draw little pictures kind of thing, to write this. And then we complain and we say, now, why must you have a script and why must you have a print? You read in print, but you write in script. And why must you, and then why must there be a suffit? And why can't you put it like this? And how do you know? And then it's the nickel dots, and then it's all this, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. But you know what? If you're going to want to be able to be in the land, you have to overcome these giants that are there, and this is one of the giants, and everybody had to start somewhere. When they came here, they didn't all just know the language and just arrived. Okay, look, some of it more at an advantage. Because if they studied it in their schools, obviously being Jewish, you would have had to study the Hebrew language. Some of them studied it at school. And now you come and it's your age and you're at a disadvantage in so many different ways. But you know what? You have the Ruach of Yahuwah. And that's when the Father said to me, it's not by might, it's not by power, it's by my Ruach. Natalia, trust me. Am I the one who's wanting you to be here? Am I the one who's called you to be here? Then I am the one who's going to facilitate things for you. Do not try to take this upon yourself. Do not be stressing about it. And I was in tears already, and I just wanted to run away from this because that's me. You know, when something is just too much for me, I run away from it. That's just the way I am. You know, I take flight. It's fight or flight. And I didn't want to fight. I wanted to flight. I wanted to run away. But that's when Elsie says to me, Natalia, just relax. You're going to get it. Don't worry about it. You know, we got to do this. And last week, Monday, when I sat in that class and everything is above my head, and you know, these people have been in the class because the week before we were alone and she sat with us and we did revision, you know, and she tried to bring us up to speed. Now last week the whole class is back and these people have been together for months. And now I arrive there and they're already reading and writing, and I'm still trying to remember the alphabet, let alone the nikudots. And all I wanted to do was cry, and it was just so overwhelming. But you know, by the time at the end of the lesson, I sort of got it, and I had to make a decision in my heart, and the decision in my heart was, Natalia, if you're going to say to yourself that you cannot do this, you're not going to do this. You can do all things through Yahushua who strengthens you. Yahushua is the one who's going to strengthen you. And you can do all things through him. And trust him that by his Ruach, he's going to give you the know-how. And then I came home and then I had to sit down and try and help and show Elsie now what to do. And she's looking at me and I could see the overwhelming in her face. And it was like, I don't understand this and I don't know this. I said, I know, but we'll get through it. And by his grace we have. And so blessed is the man who does endure trial. For when he has been proved, he shall receive the crown of life which the Master has promised to those who love him. And so at the end of the day, there is a crown for those who endure. You will receive the crown that the king will put on you, as he did on Esther. And then let me just go to Revelation, my favorite scripture in Revelation chapter 2, Church of Smyrna. And to the Church of Smyrna. Let's see. Do not be afraid. Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Okay, let's read. And to the messenger of the assembly of Smyrna write, this says the first and the last, who became dead and came to life, and know your works and pressure and poverty. And know your works and pressure and poverty. See, thlipsis, pressure. You know, tribulation. Yet you are rich, and the blasphemy of those who say they are Yehudim and are not, but of a congregation of Hasatan. And this is what we're surrounded with, but we will go into that in more detail in the other things that he has to share. Do not be afraid of what you are about to suffer. See, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison in order to try you, and you shall have pressure 10 days. Be trustworthy until death, and I shall give you the crown of life. There's the crown of life for those who endure, for those who are willing to go through the process, just like Esther. For those who will not conform, but for those who will stay faithful, for those who will cry out and say, let me find out what is it that my king desires. I'm not going to walk into a place and just have my own way. I'm going to find out what pleases my king. So may that be upon our hearts in this time of Tevet, that we seek him above all things. May Abba bless you, beloveds of the King. As we continue to run this race, as we continue to endure, and just like Esther, for such a time as this, you truly have been created living in exciting times of when we see the end time things unfolding before our very eyes. But let us take our eyes off the things that are around us and put our eyes on our King, like Esther, that in the time of when she was in the palace, her eyes was upon the King, and her heart's desire was to please her King. Is that your heart's desire? To be nothing other than please the King of Kings? Because that is what's going to win us the crown and the prize in the end. May Abba bless you all. Shalom, shalom.